Get away from him. The woman's scream cuts through the June heat like a blade. Iris LaSalle yanks Spencer backward, her frail arms surprisingly strong. The crowd converges at Lakewood Elementary's front lawn, phones already raised, already recording. Douglas Pembroke freezes, muscular frame trembling despite the Houston sun beating down on his darkish gray hair. His hands lift slowly, palms out, surrender position. Camera flashes explode around him like gunfire. That's the man whose daughter drowned. Someone shouts from the gathering circle. I saw it on the news. Spencer Carver, 6 years old, dark hair plastered to his forehead with sweat, breaks free from Iris's grip, launches himself at Douglas's leg. Small fingers dig into worn denim. No, he's my dad now. His voice cracks on the last word, desperation making it sharp. More phones emerge from pockets and purses. Recording, posting, judging in real time. Douglas stands perfectly still, this man who looks carved from stone but feels like he's made of shattered glass. 2 days since he buried Amelie in her white dress with the rabbit she never got to hold. 2 days since Delilah walked out of Texas Children's Hospital and didn't come back. 2 days since Caldwell Knox called him into the office at Thorne & Associates and ended everything that remained. And now this stranger, this boy he met an hour ago, clings to him and calls him Dad. A reporter pushes through the crowd, microphone extended like a weapon. Mr. Pembroke. Her voice carries that particular brand of manufactured concern that passes for journalism. Is it true you're already moving on from your daughter's death? The question hangs in the scorching air between them. Douglas's mouth opens. Nothing comes out. Spencer's grip tightens. Iris LaSalle reaches for the boy again, fear and confusion warring across her weathered face. The cameras keep flashing, and somewhere in the chaos, Douglas realizes he's made a choice he can't take back. 72 hours earlier, Saturday morning arrived with the kind of crystalline clarity that makes Hermon Park look like a postcard. Douglas Pembroke sat on a bench near the pond, phone pressed to his ear, listening to Caldwell Knox explain why the Riverside project timeline needed to be accelerated. Again. I'm telling you, the structural supports need another week, Douglas said, watching Amelie toddle toward the water's edge in her yellow sundress. She was hunting ducks, giggling each time they dove beneath the surface. We cut corners now, we're looking at losing the contract, Knox interrupted. Make it work, Pembroke. That's why you're my foreman. Douglas dragged his free hand through his hair, already feeling the weight of compromise settling on his shoulders. The pond glittered in the morning light. Amelie crouched at the bank, small hands reaching toward a particularly brave duck. The safety railing at the west perimeter isn't installed to code, Douglas pressed. If someone falls. No one's falling. Stop catastrophizing and start problem solving. Amelie stood, took a step closer to the water. Douglas's attention fractured between Knox's voice in his ear and his daughter's bright yellow dress reflecting in the pond's surface. He should hang up. He should walk over there. He should. Are you even listening to me? Knox demanded. Douglas looked down at his phone, just for a second, just to hit the speaker button so he could watch Amelie and respond to Knox simultaneously. Just 1 second. When he looked up, yellow fabric floated on dark water. The phone hit concrete. Douglas ran. The emergency room at Texas Children's Hospital smelled like antiseptic and fear. Delilah Carrington Pembroke sat in a plastic chair, her silk blouse still perfect, her grocery bags still in the car where she'd left them when Douglas called. Her hands shook so violently she had to tuck them under her thighs. She was supposed to be with me, Delilah whispered, staring at the wall. I asked you to take her. I had errands. Dry cleaning. Groceries. Stupid, trivial errands. Douglas stood because sitting felt impossible. His shirt still damp from pond water. His hands still remembering the weight of Amelie's small body, the way her lips had already started turning blue, the taste of his own breath forced into her lungs over and over while waiting for sirens. It's not your fault, he said, but the words came out mechanical. Hollow. Then whose fault is it? She finally looked at him. Her eyes red-rimmed, mascara tracked down both cheeks. You were watching her. You were right there. The doctor appeared before Douglas could answer. Young woman, kind face. The expression that doctors learn for delivering news that will break people. For hours after Amelie Pembroke fell into Hermon Park Pond, she stopped being a little girl and became a memory. Delilah left that night. Didn't pack. Didn't explain. Just walked out of their Heights bungalow and drove to Austin where her mother lived, and Douglas had never been welcome. Monday morning, Douglas reported to Thorne and Associates because not reporting felt like another kind of drowning. Caldwell Knox called him into the office with the glass walls, the view of downtown Houston, the desk that cost more than Douglas's truck. "I'm letting you go," Knox said without preamble. "Compassionate leave. Take time to grieve." Douglas, who hadn't slept in 48 hours, stared at him. The Riverside Project needs a foreman who can focus. You just buried your daughter. No one expects you to work right now. Something in Knox's tone didn't match his words. Douglas's exhausted brain caught it half a second too late. "This is about the safety concerns I raised." Knox's expression didn't change. "This is about giving you space to heal. You're firing me to cover your ass. I'm terminating your employment effective immediately. Security will escort you out." Douglas left with a cardboard box containing a coffee mug Amelie had decorated with stickers and a photo of Delilah from before everything shattered. He put the box in his truck, now his home since Delilah had taken the house keys when she left, and drove to the nearest liquor store. He didn't remember the rest of Monday. Tuesday dawned brutal and bright. Amelie's funeral was scheduled for 2 p.m. at Lakewood Church, but Douglas arrived at 9 a.m. because the motel room felt like a coffin and his truck felt like a hearse and nowhere felt like anywhere he could breathe. He parked across from the church, engine idling, AC struggling against Texas heat. That's when he noticed the elementary school next door. Lakewood Elementary. Balloons tied to the fence. Families in their Sunday best despite it being Tuesday. Kindergarten graduation. Children everywhere. Laughing. Running. Alive. Douglas should drive away. Should go literally anywhere else. Instead, he watched a small boy with dark hair and serious eyes standing alone near the parking lot, watching other kids hug their parents. The boy turned. Looked directly at Douglas's truck. Saw something there that made him walk over, small legs moving with purpose, despite the heat, despite the stranger danger lessons every kid learns. He knocked on the passenger window. Douglas, too broken to know better, rolled it down. "Mister," the boy said, "why are you crying?" Douglas touched his face. Came away wet. Hadn't realized. He couldn't finish. The boy studied him with eyes too old for 6 years. "I need a dad for my graduation. Just for today. Could you?" He swallowed hard. "Could you be my dad? Just pretend. Please." Douglas stared at this stranger child making an impossible request. Every logical part of his brain screamed no. He had a funeral in 5 hours. He had no business being around children. He'd failed the one child who'd needed him most. "I can't," Douglas said, voice breaking. "I'm sorry." He drove away. Made it 3 blocks before pulling over, forehead against steering wheel, body racked with sobs that had been building since Saturday morning. Since the phone call. Since the yellow dress sinking beneath dark water. His daughter was dead. His wife was gone. His job was finished. He had nothing left except breath in his lungs and emptiness everywhere else. Douglas lifted his head. Saw a corner flower shop. Made a decision he didn't understand. 10 minutes later, he walked into Lakewood Elementary carrying daisies and stepped into a life that wasn't his but might be his salvation. Spencer Carver's face when he saw Douglas return, that smile pure and grateful and bright enough to hurt, cracked something fundamental in Douglas's chest. They sat together through the ceremony. Douglas said, "That's my son," to the woman beside him and meant it in ways he couldn't explain. Spencer walked across the small stage, received his diploma, turned and beamed at Douglas like he'd hung the moon. Then came the camera flash. The reporter's recognition. The question that would change everything. "Mr. Pembroke, is it true you're already moving on from your daughter's death?" Douglas doesn't answer the reporter. He moves instead, muscle memory from construction sites where hesitation gets people hurt. His hand finds Spencer's shoulder, guides him through the crowd toward the parking lot. Away from phones. Away from questions he can't answer because he doesn't understand them himself. The truck's interior is an oven. Douglas cranks the AC, pulls onto Westheimer, drives without destination. Just movement. Just distance. Spencer talks. Breathless, excited, unaware that the world just tried to eat them both alive. You looked really proud when they called my name. Like my real dad used to look at my soccer games. Did you see me shake the principal's hand? I didn't drop my diploma or anything. The comparison hits Douglas in the chest. Physical. Sharp. Do you have kids? Spencer asks, swinging his legs against the seat, diploma clutched in both hands. Douglas's foot eases off the gas. The truck slows. He tries to speak. Nothing comes. His throat closes around words that feel like swallowing glass. I did, he finally manages. She's gone now. Silence. Then Spencer's small voice, processing with the brutal logic only children possess. My parents are gone too. Car crash 8 months ago. I was in the back seat. His legs stop swinging. I talked too much. About my field trip. Dad turned around to look at me and we hit the guardrail. The car went into the ditch near the river. Douglas pulls over. Montrose neighborhood. Oak trees throwing shade across cracked pavement. He turns in his seat, looks at this 6-year-old carrying guilt no child should know. It wasn't your fault, Douglas says. Spencer's eyes meet his. Too serious. Too knowing. Was it yours? The question lands like a fist. Douglas sees pond water. Yellow dress. Phone in his hand. 10 seconds. That's all it took. 10 seconds of divided attention and Amelie was gone. He doesn't answer. The silence is answer enough. Spencer nods like this makes sense. Like they've just recognized each other across some vast, terrible distance. Where do you live? Douglas asks, because staying in this moment will drown them both. The house in the Heights has good bones hidden under peeling paint and deferred maintenance. Window AC unit rattles against the heat. Cracked walkway lined with plastic flowers someone tried to make cheerful. Douglas helps Spencer from the truck, follows him to the door. Iris LaSalle answers with suspicion etched into every line of her weathered face. But she sees Spencer's smile, genuine, unguarded, and something softens. This is Douglas, Spencer announces. He was my dad at graduation. Iris studies Douglas. Sees the darkish gray hair, the hollow eyes, the frame of a man who's forgotten how to eat. You better come in, she says. Inside is poverty kept with dignity. Second-hand furniture arranged with care. Photos of Spencer at various ages covering one wall. Medical equipment crowded in the corner. Oxygen tank, blood pressure monitor, pill organizer with enough compartments for a pharmacy. Spencer disappears to get cookies. Douglas and Iris stand in the small living room. Two people recognizing shared ground. His parents were Molly and Thorne Maddox, Iris explains, voice thin with exhaustion. Died 8 months back. No other family. Spencer came to me through church. Unofficial arrangement. I'm too old for foster care approval. Too sick. She touches the oxygen tank like a talisman. Congestive heart failure. Diabetes. Doctor says 6 months. Maybe less. Douglas hears his own fear in her words. The terror of failing someone who needs you. I've been terrified about what happens to him, Iris continues. When I'm gone. I could help, Douglas says, surprising himself. Iris's eyes narrow. You're a stranger who showed up at a graduation. I know. And now you're offering what? Money. Time. Salvation. Douglas shakes his head. I don't know what I'm offering. But I made him a promise today. I'd like to keep it. Iris studies him. Grief recognizes grief across her lined face. Spencer returns with cookies on a chipped plate. Shows Douglas his room. Tiny space with drawings taped to walls. One stops Douglas cold. Family portrait. Mom, Dad, Spencer. All smiling. Before. From before, Spencer says, voice small. They eat dinner. Chicken, rice, vegetables from a neighbor's garden. Spencer sets the table with precision that speaks of practiced routine. Douglas explains construction work, building things, making them safe. The irony doesn't escape him. At the truck, Spencer asks the question Douglas knew was coming. Can you come back? Douglas should say no. Should disappear into his motel room and his grief and let this strange day become a story he'll tell no one. I'd like that, he says instead. Driving away, Douglas's phone buzzes. News alert. He shouldn't look. Does anyway. Local man whose daughter drowned spotted at kindergarten graduation. The photo shows Douglas and Spencer, side by side, both smiling. The caption reads, "Moving on too fast?" Stories like Spencer's get buried every day. Children who need someone to see them disappearing into a system that wasn't built for love. Only those who choose to pay attention can change that. Douglas stares at his phone. At the life he accidentally stepped into. At the choice he didn't know he was making until it was already made. His hands shake on the steering wheel. The phone keeps buzzing with notifications. And somewhere in Houston, a 6-year-old boy goes to sleep believing someone finally chose to stay. Wednesday morning arrives with 47 missed calls and the kind of internet fame that destroys lives. Douglas wakes on motel sheets that smell like industrial detergent and other people's failures. His phone screen glows with notifications. Headlines scroll past like verdicts. Negligent father seeks new child. Moving on too fast. Community outraged by drowning dad's graduation stunt. The photos are worse. Amelie's funeral, his face grief-ravaged, Delilah's empty chair, juxtaposed with graduation photos where he's almost smiling beside Spencer. The comments section is a firing squad. Disgusting. How dare he? That poor boy doesn't know what he's getting into. Douglas drives to the Heights on autopilot. Finds Iris on her front porch, oxygen tank beside her, phone in her lap displaying the same headlines. Spencer doesn't know about your daughter, she says before he reaches the steps. I think you should leave. I made him a promise. You made him a lie. Her voice carries the weight of someone who's seen too many promises break. You're using that boy to feel less empty. Douglas opens his mouth. The doorbell interrupts whatever defense he might have constructed. Talia Maddox introduces herself with the tired professionalism of someone who's removed too many children from too many homes. Late 30s, suit wrinkled from Houston humidity. Eyes that have stopped being surprised by human failure. She's received multiple complaints about Spencer's living situation. Anonymous tips. Concerned citizens. She interviews Iris separately. Discovers what Douglas already knew. No legal guardianship papers. No formal custody arrangement. Spencer's documentation so thin he barely exists on paper. By law, I should remove him today, Talia says, but something in her voice suggests she won't. 2 weeks. Get the paperwork filed. Birth certificate. Guardianship documentation. Home inspection. She looks at Douglas. And you need to stay away until this is resolved legally. After Talia leaves, Iris collapses. Douglas catches her before she hits the porch. Diabetic episode. He learns later at Memorial Hermann Hospital. Spencer watches paramedics load his grandmother into an ambulance. Small body rigid with terror that Douglas recognizes. Is she dying like my parents? No, Douglas lies because the truth, he doesn't know, will shatter this child completely. She's going to be okay. The doctor at Memorial Hermann assumes Douglas is family. Shares prognosis that confirms what Iris already knows. Months, not years. Heart failure accelerating. Stress making everything worse. Douglas makes calls from the hospital parking lot. Seraphine Carter answers on the 4th ring, remembers him from before Amelie, before everything collapsed. She's hesitant when he explains. His reputation is toxic. Media coverage brutal. But something in his voice must convince her because she agrees to consult. Spencer stays with Ellis Harper, a neighbor with 3 kids and a heart too big for the system she's learned to navigate. Douglas visits Iris that evening. She's awake but diminished, oxygen tubes snaking across her face. "I can't protect him anymore," she whispers. "Will you?" "I'll try." That's not good enough. Douglas thinks about his empty motel room, his truck home, his wife in Austin who won't return his calls. Then yes. "I will." Thursday brings Seraphine's downtown office and a list of obstacles that would be funny if they weren't fatal. Mental health concerns. Financial instability. Media pressure. No blood relation. Iris's unofficial guardianship creating legal quicksand. "This is nearly impossible," Seraphine says. Nearly isn't never. She files preliminary paperwork. Emergency guardianship petition. The requirements read like a test designed for failure. Psychiatric evaluation, financial disclosure, home study. Across Houston, Caldwell Knox sees the same news coverage and recognizes opportunity. If Douglas fights for custody, he'll have time to think, to remember, to talk about why he was really fired. Knox calls Grim Lancaster, explains the situation with careful omissions, begins building a case using Douglas's grief as ammunition. At Ellis Harper's house, Spencer draws pictures. One shows 3 figures holding hands. Title in careful first-grade letters, "My Family Now." Ellis sees it, knows what's coming. The system doesn't bend for love. Thursday evening, Douglas picks Spencer up despite Talia's warning. Drives to Whataburger because it's Texas and the boy needs to eat. They sit in the truck watching sunset paint Houston's skyline orange and gold. "Are you going to disappear?" Spencer asks, ketchup on his chin. "No. People say that. Then they leave." "I won't leave." Spencer studies him with those 2 old eyes. "You look sad like my dad before the crash. Are you going to crash too?" The question cuts deeper than any headline. Douglas doesn't have an answer that isn't a lie. His phone rings. Talia Maddox. Professional voice. Legal words. "Mr. Pembroke, we need to discuss your contact with Spencer Carver. There's been a formal complaint. If you approach him again without legal standing, I'll have to intervene." The line goes dead. Spencer keeps eating his burger, unaware the world just closed another door. Friday crawls past with Douglas watching his phone like it might spontaneously combust. Seraphine's voice on the line is clinical, detached. Emergency petition filed. Judge Varick Stroud won't hear it until psychiatric evaluation clears. Appointment with Dr. Phineas Lowell set for Monday. 3 days might as well be 3 years. Caldwell Knox appears on the new news looking concerned and civic-minded. "I employed Douglas Pembroke for 8 years. Great worker, but this recent tragedy clearly affected his judgment. Now he's latching onto a vulnerable child. As someone who cares about community safety, I had to speak up." The interview goes viral. By evening, an online petition circulates. "Protect Spencer Carver from dangerous man." 5,000 signatures and climbing. Spencer's kindergarten teacher calls Talia. "He seemed happy with that man, but if he's unstable." Another nail. Another door closing. Grim Lancaster files a motion to intervene. Legal language designed to eviscerate. Amelie's death recounted in brutal detail. Douglas's 911 call transcribed, preserved, weaponized. "She's not breathing. Oh God, please. This is my fault. I wasn't watching." Seraphine shows him the filing in her downtown office. Douglas reads his own panic turned against him. The worst moment of his life now evidence of his unfitness. Saturday brings Delilah. She finds him in the motel parking lot, thinner than he remembers, eyes hollow from Austin and grief and whatever her mother's been feeding her about fault and failure. "Are you trying to replace her?" Her voice cracks on the question. "Our daughter's been dead 4 days and you're playing father to some random boy." "It's not like that." "Then what is it like? Explain how you move on this fast." Douglas can't. Doesn't understand it himself. Just knows Spencer's face keeps him breathing when Amelie's absence wants to stop his lungs. Delilah's hands shake. "I asked you to take her that day. I had errands. Dry cleaning. Groceries. Stupid, trivial errands." She looks at him like drowning. You get to be a father again. I'll never be a mother. She leaves before he can tell her that being a father again feels like betraying the daughter he buried, that every smile Spencer earns from him costs Amelie's memory something he can't name. His reflection in the truck's rear view shows darkish gray hair, lines that weren't there a week ago. 32 years old, looking 50. Sunday morning finds him at Lakewood Church. Back pew. Head down. The pastor approaches after service with quiet recognition. You're carrying a heavy burden. I don't know if I'm helping this boy or hurting him. Maybe both. Grace isn't clean. Spencer sees him. Breaks from Iris with 6-year-old speed. You came back. Small arms around Douglas's waist. I told you I wouldn't leave. Talia Maddox watches from across the parking lot. Sees genuine joy. Careful gentleness. Begins questioning the narratives Knox has constructed. Then Caldwell Knox appears. Sunday suit and political smile. Sees Douglas with Spencer. The smile vanishes. You killed your own kid and now you want a trophy replacement? Knox's voice carries. Phone's already out, already recording. You're sick, Pembroke. Douglas lunges. Muscle memory from construction sites, from dive into pond water, from every moment he was too late. Spencer between them. Screaming. Iris pulls the boy back. Douglas stops. Every muscle visible with restraint. Knox smirks at the cameras. See. Violent. Unstable. Another viral moment. Another reputation shattered beyond recognition. Monday morning, Dr. Phineas Lowell's office smells like leather and judgment. Clinical questions delivered with practiced neutrality. Amelie's death. Delilah's departure. Job loss. Current mental state. Douglas answers honestly because lying takes energy he doesn't have. Grief. Guilt. Insomnia. Intrusive thoughts of pond water. Yellow dress sinking. Small face going slack. Do you have suicidal ideation? Pause. Sometimes. Have you made plans? No. Why not? Because Spencer asked me not to leave. Dr. Lowell makes notes. Expression unreadable. Results in 48 hours. Douglas exits into Houston heat. Finds Spencer on the bench outside, small legs swinging, Ellis Harper beside him looking apologetic and terrified. He ran away, Ellis says. Walked 2 miles. I called, but you were. I heard you were in danger, Spencer interrupts, voice small but determined. I wanted to help. Douglas kneels. I level with this child who keeps choosing him despite every reason not to. You can't keep running away. You can't keep being in danger. The logic is 6-year-old perfect. Devastating in its simplicity. Douglas's phone rings. Talia's number. He doesn't answer. Just holds Spencer's hand while the world keeps trying to tear them apart. Talia waits at Ellis's house when Douglas returns Spencer. Her expression carries the weight of every child she's failed to save through bureaucracy. This is exactly why I issued the separation order. You're making this child dependent on you when you have no legal right and questionable stability. He came to me. Because you gave him hope you can't guarantee. She's not wrong. Douglas drives away with Spencer's palm print fading on the window. Tuesday brings headlines that feel like sentencing. Suicidal man seeks custody of child. Dr. Lowell's confidential evaluation leaked. Knox's fingerprints invisible but certain. The report catalogs Douglas's failures in clinical language. Significant unprocessed trauma. Indicators of depression. Suicidal ideation acknowledged. Judge Stroud postpones the hearing. Requires 30 days psychiatric treatment before proceeding. Spencer doesn't have 30 days. Wednesday, Iris collapses at home. Heart failure acute. Memorial Hermann again, but this time the prognosis leaves no room for hope. Spencer placed with Ellis temporarily. CPS begins formal foster placement process. Douglas, barred from contact by court order, drives to Hermann Park. Same pond. Same bench. Water dark and still, reflecting June sky like a mirror designed to show him everything he's lost. His phone slides from his pocket. Hits shallow water. He reaches for it without thinking. Hand submerges. Cold. Amelie's skin was cold like this when the paramedics finally stopped trying. 17 missed calls. 1 voicemail. Spencer's voice, borrowed phone, pure terror. Douglas, they said I have to go to different house tomorrow. With people I don't know. I'm scared. Can you come get me? Please. You promised you wouldn't leave. Douglas pulls his hand from the water. Stands. Drives. Ellis won't let him in. CPS orders. Spencer at the window, small palm pressed against glass. Douglas mirrors it from outside, separated by rules designed to protect children from men like him. I'm still here, he says to the glass. I'm still fighting. Ellis closes the curtains. Douglas sits in his truck all night. Houston heat doesn't break even after dark. Thursday brings Seraphine's voice and impossible news. Iris LaSalle is Iris Carrington LaSalle, Delilah's grandmother. Families connected through blood Douglas never knew existed. Delilah has potential claim through family connection, Seraphine explains. Court may prefer biological relation. Delilah, learning her estranged grandmother is dying while caring for an orphan, feels duty like drowning. Friday. Formal hearing scheduled for Monday. Douglas hasn't slept in 3 days. Living in his truck. Hair unkempt. Frame gaunt. Falling apart in real time. Saturday, Spencer meets the foster family being considered. Varick and Seraphine Stroud, judge's brother and sister-in-law. Conflict of interest in any other jurisdiction. Nice people. Stable home. 3 other foster kids. Spencer, polite and hollow. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. Doesn't make eye contact. Doesn't smile. Asked about interests. I don't know. The vibrant boy from graduation has disappeared into survival mode. Talia makes notes. Placement likely stable but child presenting concerning withdrawal symptoms. She's seen this before. Children who stop hoping to avoid the hurt when hope dies. Sunday morning, Douglas's truck found at Hermon Park. Engine running. Note on dashboard in handwriting that looks like giving up. I'm sorry I failed again. Spencer sees the news alert on Ellis's television. Breaking news. Amber Alert discussion. Police presence at the park. He runs. Ellis tries to stop him. He's 6 years old and terrified and desperate. Runs a mile and a half through Houston heat. Past houses and churches and normal Sunday mornings where fathers don't disappear. Hermon Park crawling with police. News crews. Helicopters overhead. Spencer pushes through the crowd. Adult hands try to catch him. He's small, fast, driven by the kind of fear that makes children capable of impossible things. Where is he? Spencer screams at the first uniform he reaches. Is he dead too? Right now, thousands of children like Spencer are watching adults disappear when things get hard. The ones who stay, who fight past the breaking point, they're the ones who change everything. Don't scroll past this. The officer kneels. Doesn't have answers. Behind them, news cameras capture a 6-year-old boy's world ending in real time. And somewhere near the pond, Douglas Pembroke sits on Amelie's memorial bench, unable to jump, unable to stay, unable to do anything except wait for whatever comes next. The officer kneels, trying to calm Spencer. Son, we're looking for someone. Do you know Douglas Pembroke? He's my dad. Where is he? A quarter mile away, Douglas sits at Amelie's memorial bench. Small plaque reading in loving memory. He's been here all night. Wrote the note because he thought he might jump from a Govern Lake bridge. Got this far. Couldn't move. He hears the commotion. Stands on legs that barely hold him. Walks toward the parking lot. Spencer sees him first. Breaks free from the officer with 6-year-old fury. You're alive. You're alive. Small body collides with Douglas. Arms surprisingly strong. Douglas collapses to his knees. Holds this child who barely knows him but refuses to let go. Police approach. Questions. Douglas still holding Spencer. I wasn't going to jump. I wrote the note because I thought I might. But I couldn't. Because of him. Talia Maddox arrives, called when Spencer ran. Sees them. Douglas holding Spencer, Spencer's face buried in Douglas's shoulder. Don't leave me. Please don't leave me. Everyone leaves. I'm here. I'm staying. I promise. Talia makes the call. Mr. Pembroke, you need to come with me. Spencer, you're going with Mrs. Harper. Spencer screams. Clings tighter. Douglas has to pry small fingers off his shirt. Hardest thing he's done since letting go of Amelie at the hospital. Monday's emergency hearing happens in Judge Varick Stroud's courtroom. Grim Lancaster presents his case like prosecuting murder. Douglas Pembroke. Negligent, unstable, suicidal. Exhibits laid out like evidence at a crime scene. Psychiatric evaluation. Suicide note. News coverage. Your Honor, this man caused his daughter's death through inattention. Now he's fixated on a replacement child. Classic trauma response, not genuine care. Douglas, in a borrowed suit that doesn't fit, looks destroyed. Darkish gray hair, hollow eyes, posture of someone already convicted. Seraphine fights back. Spencer's drawings. Ellis Harper's testimony. School records showing improvement after meeting Douglas. Then Iris LaSalle appears, wheeled in against doctor's orders. Oxygen tank. Visibly dying. Judge tries to excuse her. She refuses. I've raised Spencer for 8 months. I'm dying. Weeks left, maybe days. Her voice thin but certain. Douglas doesn't see Spencer as replacement. He sees him as second chance. To be present. To protect. To not look away. She turns to Douglas. You can't save Amelie. She's gone. But you can save this boy. Not from danger, from loneliness. From believing he's unlovable because people keep leaving. Iris collapses. Paramedics rush in. Spencer screams from the gallery. Chaos. Judge calls recess. Courthouse hallway. Caldwell Knox makes his mistake. You should have stayed, disappeared. Knox hisses at Douglas. Why do you care so much? Because if you get custody, you'll have time to think. To remember why I really fired you. To talk about Riverside Project. Knox walks away. Too late. Seraphine investigates. Finds it. Riverside Project. Rushed timeline. Cut safety corners. The pond where Amelie drowned. Faulty railing. Construction defect. Knox's responsibility. Amelie's death wasn't entirely Douglas's fault. Infrastructure failed. Company liable. Knox fired Douglas to silence him. Used tragedy as cover. Hearing resumes. Seraphine presents evidence. Judge Stroud's expression hardens. Mr. Lancaster, who exactly are you representing? Lancaster withdraws. Knox is done. But Douglas still has the psychiatric evaluation. Still has the suicide note. Judge still skeptical. Then Delilah stands. Your Honor, may I speak? She testifies. Full truth. She was supposed to watch Amelie. She asked Douglas to take her. She left him when he needed her because she couldn't face her own guilt. I see him with Spencer and I'm jealous, not because he's replacing our daughter, but because he found reason to keep living. She faces Douglas. I'm sorry. For leaving. For blaming you. For not fighting beside you. She turns to the judge. Douglas Pembroke is the best father I've ever known. What happened was accident. Compounded by corporate negligence. He's not dangerous. He's broken. But broken people can still build beautiful things. Judge deliberates. Silence thick enough to drown in. Mr. Pembroke, I'm granting temporary guardianship. 90 days. Conditional on continued psychiatric treatment. Supervised visitation for first 30 days. Monthly CPS reviews. Douglas can't breathe. However, Judge Stroud continues, there's one person whose voice I haven't heard. Spencer, would you come up here? Spencer Carver walks to the judge's bench. 6 years old in clothes Ellis bought for court. Khakis, button-up shirt, too formal, clearly uncomfortable. Judge Stroud kneels to his level. The courtroom holds its breath. Spencer, Do you understand what guardianship means? Spencer nods. It means someone takes care of you legally. That's right. Do you want Mr. Pembroke to be your guardian? Spencer looks at Douglas. Back to the judge. He's sad all the time. Sometimes he cries when he thinks I'm not looking. He doesn't sleep good. He lives in his truck. The courtroom tenses. This isn't going where Douglas needs. Spencer continues, tears threatening. But he came back. At graduation, he left, but he came back. And at the park yesterday, he could have jumped like I thought he would, but he didn't. Because of me. 6-year-old trying to be brave. My real dad didn't come back. The crash took him. But Douglas keeps coming back. Even when it's hard. Even when people are mean. He promises and he keeps them. Spencer turns to Douglas directly. Can I keep you? Please. Judge Stroud returns to the bench, visibly affected. Mr. Pembroke, Spencer has chosen you. I'm honoring that choice, with conditions. 90-day temporary guardianship. But understand, I will be watching. One incident, one lapse. One sign Spencer's welfare is compromised, and this ends. Do you accept these terms? Douglas stands. Yes, Your Honor. Then Spencer Carver is released to your temporary custody. Spencer runs. Douglas catches him. Ellis cries. Seraphine smiles. Delilah watches from the gallery, something broken and healing in her expression. Outside, media swarms. Douglas shields Spencer. Seraphine handles questions while Douglas focuses on one problem. He doesn't have a home. Delilah appears in the parking lot. I kept the house. In separation papers. But I'm not living there. I'm in Austin with my mother. You two can stay there. Until you figure things out. Delilah. It's not forgiveness. Not yet. But it's a start. For Spencer. She hands him keys. Their hands touch briefly. First contact since the hospital. Both pull away. Still too raw. The Heights bungalow feels enormous to Spencer. Douglas shows him the room that was nursery. Amelie's crib dismantled but present. Can we keep some of her things? Spencer asks. So she's still here? Douglas, throat tight. Yeah, we can do that. First dinner in a real kitchen. Spaghetti because it's all Douglas knows how to cook. Spencer asks about Amelie. Douglas shows photos, tells stories. Spencer listens with 6-year-old solemnity. She was lucky to have you. I failed her. But you tried. My dad tried too. Sometimes trying isn't enough, but it's still good. Wednesday brings Talia's supervised visit. She checks safety measures, interviews Spencer separately. Do you feel safe? Pause. Safer than I've been since my parents died. Thursday, Dr. Lowell's office. Douglas recounts Amelie's death in detail. The phone call. Looking up too late. Water. CPR. Hospital. Delilah's scream. Small hand going cold. You carry this like punishment, Lowell observes. It is punishment. Or it's grief. There's a difference. Punishment doesn't heal. Grief can. Friday. Iris LaSalle dies peacefully at Memorial Hermann. Spencer and Douglas present. Her last words to Spencer. You're loved. Don't forget. To Douglas. Protect him. Not just his body. His heart. I will. Saturday's funeral is small. Ellis, church friends. Talia attending out of genuine respect. Delilah comes, paying respects to the grandmother she'd been estranged from. Sees Spencer clinging to Douglas through grief. Recognizes what her choice to leave cost her. Caldwell Knox's legal troubles begin. Investigation reveals systemic safety violations. Hermann Park Pond railing improperly installed. Inspections falsified. Criminal charges filed. Company lost. But Knox's attorney discovers something. Files a motion that arrives Monday morning. Spencer's birth certificate lists father as unknown. Knox has evidence, affair with Molly Maddox years ago. DNA test possible. Knox is Spencer's biological father. The legal notice lands on Douglas's doorstep like a grenade. Biological father seeks custody of minor child Spencer Carver. Monday's emergency hearing feels like execution. Grim Lancaster returns with DNA evidence. Knox obtains Spencer's DNA from a discarded juice box at school. Legally questionable. Admissible anyway. 99.7% match. Caldwell Knox is Spencer's biological father. The courtroom erupts. Spencer, in the gallery with Ellis, doesn't understand. What does biological father mean? Ellis tries to explain. Spencer's face cycles through betrayal, confusion, fear. Lancaster argues biology. Texas law favors biological parents unless proven unfit. Knox's criminal charges pending, not convicted. Mr. Knox deserves opportunity to know his son. Seraphine counters with abandonment. Knox had an affair with married woman, never followed up. Spencer's mother never told him for a reason. His current interest is motivated by spite toward Mr. Pembroke, not genuine paternal feeling. Judge Stroud faces impossible choice. Biological rights versus established bond. Law versus love. Orders psychiatric evaluations of Knox. Extended evaluation of Douglas-Spencer relationship. Hearing continued 2 weeks. Spencer remains with Douglas temporarily. Outside, media splits. Some support Knox, biology matters. Others support Douglas. Presence matters. That night, Douglas tries to explain. Knox is your biological father. That means he contributed to making you. But it doesn't mean he's your dad. Dad is someone who chooses you, protects you, shows up. Spencer processing. Like you. I hope so. If he's my biological father, do I have to go with him? Douglas can't lie. The judge will decide. I don't want him. I want you. I know. I'm fighting for that. Week 1. Douglas maintains routine. School, homework, dinner, bedtime stories. Stability while everything crumbles. Spencer's nightmares return. Car crash. River. Parents who didn't come back. He wakes screaming. Douglas holds him until dawn. The evaluations come back. Spencer's psychologist finds secure attachment to Douglas. Disruption would cause significant trauma. Knox's evaluation reveals narcissistic tendencies. Inability to empathize, views Spencer as possession. But not clinically unfit. Gray area where law lives. Week 2. Delilah returns from Austin. Coffee shop. Neutral ground. I want to testify. For you. Why? Because I lost our daughter and then I lost you. I don't want Spencer to lose you too. He needs you. Maybe I still do. Reconciliation hinted. Not resolved. Too much hurt. But alliance formed. Day before final hearing. Spencer disappears from school. Principal calls. Panic. Police. Amber Alert discussion. Douglas drives frantically, then remembers. Hermann Park. Memorial bench. Where everything began and nearly ended. Finds Spencer sitting there, small legs swinging, staring at the pond. I wanted to see where she died. Where you almost died. To understand. Douglas sits beside him. Water laps. Houston heat oppressive. Long silence. If I go with Knox, will you forget about me like you tried to forget everything? I'll never forget you. Ever. But you'll move on. Get a new kid. Like everyone said. No. You're not replaceable. Neither was Amelie. You're both irreplaceable. Both important. Both loved. Spencer finally looks at him. Do you love me? Douglas realizes he hasn't said it. Hasn't allowed himself. Yes. I love you, Spencer. Like a dad. Exactly like a dad. Spencer stands, looks at the pond. I'm scared of water. Because of my parents' crash, there was river nearby. I'm scared of it too. Because of Amelie. Can we be scared together? Yeah, we can. They stand holding hands, facing water. Afraid but not alone. Then Knox appears. GPS tracker on Douglas's truck. Lancaster beside him. Touching scene. But it ends tomorrow. Judge will rule in my favor. You don't want him. You want to win. Maybe. But law's on my side. Spencer hides behind Douglas. Knox sees. Son, come here. Spencer doesn't move. I said come here. Commanding voice. Spencer clings tighter. Knox reaches for Spencer. Douglas blocks. Don't touch him. He's my son. He's a child. And he's terrified of you. Lancaster films everything. Recording Douglas's aggression. Police arrive. Separate them. Statements. Warnings. Lancaster smirks with his phone evidence. This footage will destroy you tomorrow, Lancaster says. Judge will see you as obstacle to biological father's rights. Spencer will be removed from your custody immediately. Tuesday's final hearing packs Judge Stroud's courtroom. Douglas in a suit he owns now. Seraphine helped him buy it with a loan. Spencer in the gallery with Ellis. Small hands folded, trying to be brave. Lancaster plays the video. Douglas blocking Knox from Spencer. Large man preventing biological father from approaching child. Mr. Pembroke has created dependency that borders on parental alienation. He's inserted himself between biological father and son. Seraphine cross-examines Knox. When did you first learn Spencer existed? Few weeks ago. And your first action was to file custody claim? Yes. Not to meet him. Build relationship. Understand his needs. Knox fumbles. I was establishing legal standing. So your priority was possession, not connection. Seraphine presents Spencer's drawings. Every single one features Douglas. Not one includes Knox. This child doesn't know you, Mr. Knox. He doesn't want to know you. Because you're a stranger using DNA as a weapon. Delilah testifies next. Powerful. Honest. Douglas Pembroke isn't perfect. He's traumatized, guilt-ridden, struggling. But he shows up. Every day for Spencer, he shows up. That's what being a parent means. Not biology. Presence. Talia breaks neutrality. In 15 years of child welfare work, I've never seen a child bond so quickly and healthily with a guardian. Spencer Carver is thriving with Mr. Pembroke. Dr. Lowell, this child saved this man's life. And this man is learning to save himself, for Spencer's sake. That's healthy interdependence, not dangerous codependency. Then the courtroom door opens. Thorne Maddox Sr. enters. Spencer's grandfather. Molly's father-in-law. He testifies. Molly confided before she died. Knox assaulted her. Spencer was product of assault, not affair. She never told Knox because she was terrified. The courtroom erupts. Knox's attorney requests recess. Knox, pale, knows he's finished. Judge Stroud calls Spencer forward. I need you to tell me, where do you feel safest? Spencer looks at Douglas. Back to the judge. With my dad. Points to Douglas. Him. Not the other man. Douglas is my dad. Because he chose me. And I choose him. Judge deliberates. Silence thick enough to drown in. After reviewing all evidence, testimony, and most importantly, the child's stated preference, I am granting permanent guardianship of Spencer Carver to Douglas Pembroke. Mr. Knox's paternity claim is denied. Furthermore, I am issuing a restraining order. Mr. Knox is to have no contact with Spencer Carver. Knox erupts. Judge orders him removed. Douglas can't process. Permanent. Spencer runs to him. They collide. Both crying. You're mine. Spencer asks. Only if you're mine. Deal. 3 months later. September morning. Douglas makes pancakes, he's learned. Spencer's backpack ready. Lunch packed. House is home now. Amelie's photos integrated with Spencer's drawings. Shared space. Delilah visits occasionally. Relationship uncertain. Maybe reconciliation, maybe friendship, maybe just co-grief. She's part of Spencer's life now. Aunt Delilah. She's okay with that. Douglas returned to construction. Different company. Testified against Knox's practices. Got industry blacklist lifted. Modest salary. Stable. Enough. Therapy continues. Both of them. Douglas's suicidal ideation replaced with purpose. Spencer's nightmares less frequent. Healing isn't linear, but it's happening. Can we visit Amelie today? Spencer asks in the car. Of course. They go weekly. Spencer leaves drawings. Hi, Amelie. I'm your brother now. Kind of. Your dad is my dad. I hope that's okay. Douglas doesn't correct him. Lets the child define family. At school drop-off, other parents friendlier. Scandal faded. Some still judge. Douglas doesn't care. Spencer hugs him. Love you, Dad. First time without qualifier. Love you too, son. First time without fear. Spencer waves from the classroom door. Douglas waves back. Watches until he disappears inside. Normal Tuesday. Houston traffic. Radio playing. He's smiling. Evening at community pool. Douglas teaching Spencer to swim. Facing shared fear together. What if I sink? Spencer asks. I'll catch you. I promise. You always keep your promises. Always. Spencer jumps. Water closes over him. Comes up sputtering, laughing. Douglas right there, hands ready. I did it. You did it. They practice. Fear becomes play. Water, once symbol of death, guilt, loss, becomes place of healing. Where broken man and broken boy learn to float together. Two figures in the pool. Surrounded by other families. Normal evening. Nothing special. Everything special. How many Spencers are waiting right now for someone to choose them? How many Douglases are one decision away from purpose instead of despair? These stories don't go viral by accident. They spread because we refuse to look away. If you're still here, you're already different. Subscribe so you never miss another story that demands to be seen. Douglas thinks but doesn't say, Amelie, if you can hear me, thank you for Spencer. He saved me. I'll spend the rest of my life making sure he knows he was worth saving too. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next. Click on the image or video showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.